Hello and welcome to the European season in STB this season for the first ever Dutch Grand Prix in the STB Race League. We're here at a country known to Formula One due to its past races in the 1980s around this circuit, Zandvoort, and of course in real life they have their hero Max Verstappen heading things up at Red Bull. In the league we have, I believe, math is correct, we've got two Dutch drivers this season. We've got Joel, we've got STB Zitzi here in Netherlands. But this is the first ever Dutch Grand Prix, very much unknown to all these drivers how the race is going to pan out. What we do know is this could well be a very strategic Grand Prix in terms of the undercut when they do the pit stops. But I am joined in the commentary box this evening by very special person. It's Ricky X again. Ricky, how are you feeling ahead of today's Grand Prix? It could well be a cracker.
Definitely, Maldy, and we're pretty much here for the second of two brand new circuits in the Formula One calendar here in the Netherlands. I think you quite nicely kind of warmed us into the feeling of coming back to the Netherlands for the first time since 1985, which is always nice and special with the following that Max Verstappen gets. The Orange Army basically follow him all across Europe, so they all get to come and have a race of their own here in their own patch, which is very interesting as well. And it'll definitely be, as you were saying as well, quite important for Joe and Zitzi to actually have a strong showing here, considering this is their home race. You always kind of really want to shine in your home race as well, so very much looking forward to see how they perform in this couple session.
Yes, obviously this is George Ferdinand. He was dropped as reserve due to other commitments that came up before the season started. But I think he'll be happy to come back. Obviously his home race back in Netherlands. He's in racing point this season, replacing Buckley. But I think Riggsy, this race could be a very good one. This is personally my favourite track on the calendar this season. So yeah, I'm just here for it. We've got a few. Well, we've actually got a new driver for this season. Someone who did race in China, but was back here for as a full-time driver, LMT Multiply. He'll be the first ever Spanish driver in the league since Jonna that raced back in 2015. So it's quite a long time ago since you had a Spanish driver in the league full-time. Kyle is back in the Tier 1. Ritzy, he's improved his pace over the last few weeks. He's had to leave Tier 2 due to other things, but he'll be hoping to try and prove himself as a Tier 1 driver. Mercury definitely said he's definitely got the pace and the potential to he'll be competitive in the top tier. Jordan's back, of course, Ritzy. We've got Kevin back this week as well, Ritzy, and we've got Matty back as well. So we've got a few Tier 2 drivers back in here, with the front runners in Tier 2. Want to see what it's like potentially for next season when they get promoted up.
Definitely, it's always good to get some extra practice in and kind of weigh up your pace and your racecraft in comparison to the top tier. Kind of gives you a perfect gauge for your race tomorrow. But the race is quite interesting in the sense that there is quite a lot of variables we still kind of need to really factor in. It does need the weather. I mean, we're kind of left in the dark with the weather, so the weather could always spice something up. And if you can see on the screen there, you can see that there's a lot of grey skies kind of looming on the back end of the circuit. So we could have the potential threat of rain. It's a very quick, free-flowing circuit, which I very much love as well, Maldy. It's one of I rank it quite highly in terms of like just personally and professionally. I think it's got a really good feel to it if you get the right setup in that.
Yeah.
It's a very qualifying like free-flowing circuit, so I'm very excited to see how quick the drivers can actually go and see how they go about in the race. Excuse me.
Yeah, I think Netherlands, it's a very flowing circuit, I would say. Very, very flowing. A lot of high-speed sections, especially in that second sector. So it's going to be quite difficult with the dirty air, I think. Which is drivers have been complaining about high tyre temperatures. So it's going to be difficult, I think, for some of these drivers to keep those temperatures down. It's very important to get the setup right as well around this track. I personally have a lot of issues with the setup in my practice, but yeah, I think this track, it's STB, you know, anything can happen in STB, so yeah.
I think drivers will really kind of. I mean, it really is weather dependent, and how it's going to be in the race. But if it is just a dry weekend, I will expect drivers to kind of run a low front wing, but keep the rear wing quite high. That's mainly because you want to try and carry as much speed as you can into turn 1 and up to the back of the circuit as well, as they're going to be your real main overtaking opportunities, and even in the second DRS straight as well, coming into sector 3, there's you kind of want to set yourself up for a move there, but because it's such a short circuit, the times are going to be really close together in qualifying, and the opportunity to overtake is extremely limited as well. You're wanting a high rear wing just to avoid the back end stepping out. I've had the experience where I've raced around here in Zandvoort and I was coming around the back end of the circuit, that big long right hander to finish off sector 1, and the back of the car just wants to step out. That's because the rear wing isn't high enough.
Yeah, that's to do with the suspension. You've got to really, the suspension part itself is actually very important around this circuit. You know, the roll bars and the suspension, you've got to make sure that's nailed. You need to have good traction, but also good grip of the car. Yeah.
I definitely want to have the suspension in order, as well as the roll bars, and the rear wing just kind of helps keep the car planted at the rear, but you're wanting to kind of have good traction as well on these exits, so you can actually have a real opportunity to overtake, because overtaking may be scarce like you were saying in the build up, but the undercut is definitely something to watch, and maybe even the overcut, because tyre wear isn't that excessive here if the tyre pressures are quite low and they don't overheat. So if the drivers can manage the tyres, we can see an overcut work.
Definitely. We see in Vietnam, I believe, recently, Brain came, one of the new tracks, of course, I think it was Vietnam, and that caused the race to be quite boring. Now, if we have rain here in Netherlands, I think it's not going to be very good. I am really hoping that there's no rain for this Grand Prix. I'm sure a lot of drivers are going to be angry if it does rain, but it is cloudy here. I don't think Netherlands is particularly known for having rain all the time, but I mean, on the game, sometimes it just looks like it has been raining prior to the session. It looks very, something wrong with the track, it just looks wet sometimes. But Bruno Will, P11 routine, what's your take on that?
It's no really where we expect Bruno Will to be. He is currently a 190, but he set his best time on mediums, so that is still seriously what's the word? Competitive, seriously competitive pace on the medium tyres. He is out on the softs though, and he is coming up
Matty made a mistake in the right hand. He's had a big moment there. Like he needs to sort that suspension out for the race.
And there's a McLaren off at turn 9 as well. That's coming into sector 2. It looks to be Kyle. I think maybe the rear end maybe just stepped out. He's going to have to watch for the Alfa Romeo of Mercury driving by. I think that was Mercury. No, it was Danny. It's the other Alfa Romeo. Talk about Alfa Romeo. They had a really strong showing last week as well, and they'll be very much looking forward to trying to see if they can carry it here into the start of the first of 2 European rounds. Because we're going to be here for Zandvoort. We're going to be in Spain in a week's time, and Monaco, and then flying out to Azerbaijan before splitting it. We go to Canada in a month's time. But Alfa Romeo's currently 8th and 15th. Mercury is coming across the line to go one better, so he's 14th now. But definitely know where he's going to want to feel like he's want to start further up. He's want to be alongside his teammate who has just improved to P5. So Alfa Romeo's looked really quick last week. Very much looking forward to seeing what they can deliver here in Zandvoort. I see if they can keep that momentum as well, because they had a strong showing last week.
Yes, definitely. So Mercury, Rixie, has actually been struggling with his wheel last week. He's had a few more problems with his gear shifts. He's been with paddles on his wheels, so he's going to be hopefully that he can fix that. Danny's in a strong position around P5 for the Alfa.
Definitely, and you can see that I think seats 8 and Jules is. I was about to say it was a Dutch front row there, but Davison just decides to wipe that slate clean there as he goes fastest with 108.5. And Davison as well. He's kind of been he got his debut on in Vietnam in the treacherous conditions that we were talking about earlier.
Yes,
He had a really strong show with Bruno.
he's so consistent the whole season. Bahrain was a bad one for him recently. Remember, I think he finished P7, P8. He didn't have a very good run in Bahrain, but he definitely made up for it in Australia, Vietnam, and China.
Aye, definitely, and with the momentum that he's bringing to Zandvoort, I would give it a few races before we kind of start putting the pin in who we think is going to be championship contenders, who's going to be in the running, who's going to be the outsider, who's the dark horse in the championship. But Davison is really kind of making a statement early on in these first rounds. We are one in Vietnam and a strong result in China. So he'll be very much looking forward to seeing how he can carry that forward as well. Looking in the Twitch chat, Maldy, we've got some chat action. ABRF1 says Seatsy for the win and pole and fastest lap. That's one after Grand Slam. You'd have to look every lap to get that, which is quite a rare feat in Formula 1. Like, you very rarely see them happening. And we've got Lucas Surratt saying go FXPR, which is the support for Davison.
FXPR. Esports.
FXPR. Yep, it's FB. It's Lucas Surratt in the chat saying go
Surratt. Hola.
So he's.
Hola, tudo bem? Yeah, a lot of Brazilian support for the league today. A lot of respect between STB and the F1 community of Brazil. We definitely known in Brazil, so that's good. But as you said, Rixie, sorry, Zitzi, at the Grand Slam, it would be incredible as it is his home race here in Ireland.
And I just jumped off a ham jam there who'd completed his lap to go P2 onto Joel, the other Dutch driver. He got his left rear in the dirt there and had a bit of a wiggle on coming into sector 2. Bit of a scary moment there, considering you're carrying so much speed into the second sector off that right hander. But doesn't seem to be doing too much damage to his lap. He has done with 3/10 of a second though, so I do expect to see him peeling into the pits and getting ready for the final run. Currently looking.
Sorry, Danny's P6. He's in a strong position. He does run quite strongly in Netherlands, I must say.
Definitely, he'll be one to watch in this race as well. He's kind of just like, he's kind of fun that extra gear, Maldy. Like, I feel like this season he's kind of really been like rejuvenated. Like, he really does want to. I'm not saying he didn't want to fight before, but he's got a lot more spirit in him in terms of actually wanting to compete and to kind of thrive and drive forward. So definitely kind of getting some support for him. Danny. Yep.
Danny, yeah. Yeah, I mean, he's a lot better on this game than he was last. So, and you can say that himself, and a lot of drivers can as well. So, yeah, Danny's really, Danny's just much better driver this season, I must say. He's just shown a lot more. And that is what we expect from Bilbao Bruno. It's a 108.331. That is the fastest lap here from Bilbao Bruno. Well, that is what we are expecting. And it is a Brazilian 1-2 Ridgely, so Brazil is still going strong here in Netherlands.
Definitely out to represent the Brazilian community here with a Brazilian front row. It was a Dutch front row just a few moments ago, and it's quickly changed to a Brazilian front row there. And that's the kind of thing as well. We've seen Bruno Will just kind of languishing about in the midfield there, and we know that's not his territory. We know he is a front runner, he is a race winner in this league as well. So definitely expect to see him at the forefront of the field, trying to battle for the wins.
Rixie, I don't think it could well be an easy ride for him, because Davison has been very strong recently. You've got Hamjam up there, you've got Zittis, his home race, his home Grand Prix, so he's going to be really on it. Joel's going to be on it, it's his home race. He comes out of the pit lane there. Yeah, I think Bruno Will can have a lot of competition. I don't think it's going to be an easy ride for him today, even though he is more than a temp for. Yeah, he basically shoots temps up, but for a lot of time, hands I think, rather than.
I definitely don't think this is going to be any kind of cakewalk for any of the drivers. I think, like, because the league is so competitive, we do expect to see the field as tight as it is. Like, we did have a really tight battle for pole between Davies and Hamjam and Seatsy there. and even Bullseye and Joe and Chuck, and it just goes on because it's such a short track. We're going to expect to see the times so close together like this. So Bruno will to find 2:10s in an area to go top of the leaderboard is going to be extremely hard for these drivers to find, considering there's very little track to go out there and find the time on. Maybe they've made a mistake somewhere. Maybe the time isn't the full package. So I will expect to see drivers also improving in on their times as the track gets rubbered in, and we are in the final 2 minutes anyway, so we are going to start to see everybody coming out, and we've got Mari losing it on the curb, Maldi there, so just to kind of cut you off there before you start speaking there, but we're on board with Mari on his flying lap there, and a mistake through turn 10 has meant that he's ended up putting the car in a spin. I think he just kind of like lit up the wheels on the curb and it nearly threw him into the wall. Very fortunate to escape without any damage.
That is 10th up on his time. I'll find it in the final sector now. 10th in the second.
And I'm a big fan of that, but I'm a really big fan of it. Not in the rain, but in the dry, it'll definitely be a really good fuel taste. He goes cool.
Davison nailed that final sector. The P1 and Bruno Wilwen has got half a 10th. Amjad, P3 for him. Right, 6 is on a lap race, so I think it's going to be. I'm predicting like fastest driver in the league. It looks like it's going to be here in. And Cole, it looks like Cole is come up on
Seats kind of dipped his tyres onto the outside curb going into E, and it's really unsettled the car. It meant he couldn't clip the apex as much as he wanted to. He doesn't seem to be in the first sector delta line, which is just round turn 9 into the traffic in the way with the Red Bull and the Mercedes quickly getting out of the way there. As he does the same thing as Mari, but it is to the fuller extent, but that's what Mari did and ended up in a spin.
He was basically matching the first sector as well.
And that is seats. I think we'll see what his time is through sector 2. It is half a second slower. I think that was his chance there, and it's pretty much done and dusted. I don't think he's going to find that in the final sector. I think he's kind of just still kind of keeping on it though. He has still gone fairly quick through the final sector. Is it close to the pit wall, or is he he's going to keep the car central onto the main racing line? It's a 1-9-1, and it's
Bill's up. Shows tempo in the first sector, Riggs then. Tempo.
He's up there 10th, up in the 10th in the second as well. Checkered flags out, so the final will sit on board with Joe as he comes through the final 2 turns. The right-hander here, which is taking him 5th, and then the nice sweeping long right bank turn, final turn onto the pit straight, keeps it very close to the pole and pit entry, up to the line. It's a 108.4, and it's third fastest, Maldi, for the Racing Point.
DJ Danny goes P number 4, Riggsy. That's what I'm talking about from Danny there. P4 for him. Mercury has only got up to P15. That's disappointing. Decent pace around this track. Fusion then goes across the gravel. He's not had a good session, but it's P10 for him. Yeah, Riggsy, what a session.
It's been interesting, definitely. It's good to see. I mean, Davison and Bruno will have kind of really established themselves as 2 fast drivers in the league. We've got Joe and Seatsy doing really well in their home race as well, 3rd and 7th respectively. Gravity getting up there right at the end of the session there, as well as DJ Danny 4. Ham Jam in 5th. That's expected for him with the pace that he brings. AWF hasn't had the best start of the season, but we know he has a good qualifier. He's in P8 for the start, and it's Bullseye and Toxic Fusion rounded out the top 10. But everybody opted the softs, so there's no medium start for the top 10 anyway. The bottom 10 will have the freedom to choose what tyre they wish to start on. What that kind of says to me, Maldi, there could potentially be rain if they're all going to try and keep on the red compound tyre.
Maybe. I mean, who knows? I mean, we haven't had an interview. The drivers I invited, they didn't join, so we didn't get any information about the race. But Riggs says through the grid, I will literally be 1 moment. I'll be back ready for the formation lap of the Dutch Grand Prix.
No worries. Well, take you through just a warm welcome to every one of the 12 viewers that are currently tuning into the STB Season 17 race here at Zandvoort. We very much love having you along with us. And if you want to feel like predicting a race winner, be my guest. If you want to get in touch on the chat, please let me know, and we'll read out some of the predictions that we get. But it is an all-Brazilian front row, as Maldi was saying. Only 16 thousandths of a second splitting Davison and Bruno Will, as Davison improves on his time right at the death. Duel this, strong showing in his home race, P3 is DJ Danny, Hamjam in 5th, Gravity P6, Seatsay and Billy WF, 7th and 8th, Bullseye, Toxic Fusion Chucker, Jamham, DXT Miles, Kevin, Mercury, and unfortunately I couldn't really get to the rest because we didn't have too much time, but I will give you the rundown once we get it on our leaderboards on the bottom left hand side of our screens. But we are very much looking forward to the 36 laps of the Dutch Grand Prix of the Zandvoort circuit. It's been renovated and up to Tier A status for the FIA to host an F1 race here. It'll be the race since 1985, and I believe, if my memory does serve, it was Niki Lauda's, the late Niki Lauda's last F1 win. But we are here 35 years later on the F1 2020 game. We haven't had the race in real life, but we are going to get ready, suited and booted, get comfortable, get your drinks in, get your kettle on as the footage start. You'll know have too much time if you want a cuppa, but this is a quick time to use this as a break while I'll run you through the formation lap and wait for my co-commentator to come back. But it is Davison and Bruno Will on the front row, Williams versus Mercedes, and Joe Racing Point starting P3 alongside DJ Danny. It's happy to share in the third row in front of his teammate Seatsay, and it was who was 8th? I can't remember who was 8th, but we're going to find out here as we get underway. Formation lap will commence, but I will give you a quick final rundown as it is Billy WF and 8th is strong qualifying there from the McLaren. Bullseye, Toxic Fusion round out the top 10. Churka, Jamham, DXT Miles, Kevin in the Ferrari, Mercury, no having the strong qualifying that he would have hoped for there. Liberal is another showing that he'll be wanting to try and improve in the race in 16th. Victor McFly 17th, Anna 18th, and Mari in the back row as Davison does get the finishing lap underway.
That's actually pretty good, Matt starting 18th place. That gives me a bit of confidence for tomorrow's Tier 2, but that's not the point. We're here in Netherlands, and as they were in Netherlands, welcome back everyone to the Netherlands Grand Prix here in Zandvoort. For the first time in STB, Riggsy, we're in the unexpected boat row in Hanoi. But Formula 1, it's been to this track before. A few changes. The bank final corner that you liked, Riggsy, was altered in construction. Race, a lot of the track in the 1980s. As you can see, the strategy. The pit window one stop open lap 11. You will be expecting lap 11, so 13:49 from the expected softness if there's no rain, because here in Netherlands. Pole position is Davison. He's showing his potential here. Let's see. Will Davison be able to convert the pole into a win? If not, who's going to win? Look at that.
I think I'll be brave. I'll say a Dutch driver will win the home race. I'm going to be
Dutch
very brave.
Win. Okay.
One of the
Joe
Dutch
said
drivers
that he's never finished in the league, so it could well be his day. Here we go. Colin goes on the grid here, and we're just waiting now for the glitches to start. The glitches have already commenced. Mars is leading the Grand Prix. It's 3 lights, it's 4 lights, it's 5 lights for the first ever STB Dutch Grand Prix live at the circuit. Zandvoort is a decent start there. Bruno Will's had a great start. Decent. Davison down in turn 1. Bruno Will on the inside. Davison's going to have the outside line, which is the better line, the racing line there for the first corner. And Davison now is going to defend that line. Put the inside there. Davison keeps it. Danny's going to get involved in that. Ham here, and it's all glitching out. Rig, see what's happening at the back.
no too much, it's a couple of wide, maybe even 3 wide into turn 2 and 3.
Massive crash! Oh, Dixie's out of his point range. That's a big crash there on the exit of turn 4. Massive crash. Safety car has been deployed. What a massive crash right there. That is massive scenes here in Netherlands. There's a span, there's a duel in his home race span. Oh, really, see, you've jinxed it.
Oh, I've threw the curse out. This is why you don't ask me who I think's going to win. It always happens. It's just bad luck for us commentators to say what's going to happen because the opposite happens. See coming out of turn left, such a good run. You can't say no to have an opportunity if they get a really poor exit. So I do expect to see drivers trying to kind of punch above their weight a wee bit and try and take a position when they can. But that's just such a slim bit of road, Maldy. It's very scary going too wide for a road itself is really narrow in most parts, so to see two, even a third, trying to go free wide up into the back circuit was always going to end in some kind of disaster like that. It's just unfortunate that one of the home favourites is in the race so early on.
A massive crash, actually. That was a big impact. That was Formula One. That would have been a Mark Brundle would have been absolutely going off his head on the box. But yeah. Well, I mean, Richie, that was basically what we expected in the Netherlands. A tight circuit, drivers trying to get through. I saw the Renault boss there down in turn 2, so he was trying to go for a move rally for him into the wall there. So it's a massive crash for Dixie, and that's not what he wants in the turn. But he'll be back.
It's extremely fortunate he never picked up anybody else as his Renault came back on the circuit, because as soon as it went off the left, he just slammed the wall. Front left was already ripped off the car, and it was just kind of sent spinning back onto the road on the outside though. But if that had a bit more momentum with the impact of the wall, that car could have been sent more than just the one retirement that we would have been seeing on lap 1. That could have been so easily could have been a much bigger accident.
Definitely, I think I was very lucky here, but great start. So Danny's going to be free after that. A few drivers have gained some position, but yeah, I didn't say at the start, but I did say Davies was going to win the race. So I didn't say it fully, but I'm saying it now. Davies in, that's good for the race win. But yeah, Davies in. Lost the start, well, lost the lead off the line. Quite a poor getaway there, and then was able to keep it into the fast first section. So actually very fast and flowing section, most expected. So it's good that Davies to get that back off Bruno well.
It's a very. See, I'm just looking at the run up to the back of the circuit just now, and you can see it's just so tight. Like, oh, there's a crash under the safety car, or was that just a lag issue there, just a connection issue for you, Maldi? I just seen the Ferrari and the Alpha just kind of splitting ways as if they'd made contact. Miles is on 2, which is strange as well. But talking about position gains and losses, also you'll know the big losers, Strowers and in Joe, both losing 13 places respectively, but everybody besides the team capacity, with the big gainers up that more than anybody, Libero, McFly, Kyle's actually up 5 from last to 15th, and everybody's up 1 or up 2, Bullseye and City as well, so we have seen purely down to the incident that and I don't even know who he made contact with, Maldi. I don't know who he was alongside with at the time. Get up, but
right then, sorry. Well, he started 7th on the grid, so I'm thinking maybe Gravity, maybe his teammate, maybe Billy. I'm thinking maybe Cam Jam, or I don't know really. But he was back the next minute. I see a Renault just spewing across the circuit. So yeah, big scenes here in Netherlands. Big scenes.
It was just them all kind of filtering through up into turn 9, and then the next thing we just saw them just coming out of the midst and just pirouetting into the back out onto the track, and it's seen anybody retire in that kind of fashion. But hopefully it'll just be a matter of rebuilding, finding the confidence, and carrying that forward into Spain in a week's time. It's just not meant to be here for him, which is massively unfortunate because he would have very much loved to put on a good show for his home fans and his home support. ABRF on stage as well. He killed in 2 days in a row. He's going to be mad, and I mean I can imagine him being massively frustrated with that incident because he had shown serious pace. He was always kind of battling. Maybe no so much for pole, but it was kind of near that P3, P4 kind of region. I kind of seen him up there. Like that's the kind of heights that I was expecting him to hit. And when you said to me who's going to win? I say, oh, let's go for the home support. Both of them just end up getting caught in, I think, 2 separate incidents. That has very much completely killed any Dutch support team. So you never know, he could still win, but I mean, that's a very, very big ask for anybody to win for 17th in the field.
Yes, safety car has been out now for 3 laps. So I'm a little bit worried because it usually comes in after 3 laps. So I think this could be the lap that the frequency, but there's been a few problems with the safety cars out the whole race. So we have to keep an eye on that.
And we're on lap 5, A36. Bert Nylander's led the race laps in that safety car. I think it actually came out on the end of lap 1 for the incident.
Yeah.
So he's been out for, this is his 4th lap coming out, so we should expect to see him at the end of this lap. If not, we might have a bit of work because the safety car doesn't normally stay out as long in the game. I mean, for an incident like that, I feel like the race would have probably been red flagged because that would have
like yesterday.
damaged the car.
We all know what red flag
yesterday.
is in Formula 1 now.
Exactly, completely just throws the race in its head and brings a lot of unpredictability. But I feel like if that was real life, the tyre barrier would have been completely
Actually, sorry. I was going very slow.
Sorry?
That's why I was going quite getting a bit agitated. But here we go, Riggsy. Sorry, safety car is in this outside pit bar. Safety car is in this lap. Davidson is going to back up pack. We don't know what Davidson is like back. We know it's an absolute kerfuffle in tier 2 when the safety car comes out. Tier 1, it looks like it could well be a bit better here. But Riggsy, here we go then. Restart. We will be expecting guys to hit in around 7-8 laps. Maybe even later due to...
He'll be really kind of wanting to punch it. He'll be wanting to punch it. And then he does there, he's already into overtake, he's already away, and Bruno Will's caught onto it, he's in the slipstream, he's tucking in. So Bruno Will has been wary, the yellow flags are out once again. And that's... Shorka's missed the chance to pit.
Bullseye, Ritzy, Bullseye, round the outside there. Gravity keeps the position to Bullseye. Bullseye doesn't have to try and get him out of the corner. It's quite a lot of bank corners around this circuit. Mercury's going to have been a P10 on the restart. He was in P11 and now he's got overtake mode on Jamham here, so he can try and get a move on the harsh driver. It's very difficult to overtake here in find a way past the hard, but Jamham is good with it, so that could work out quite well in his favour when the soft just hit.
And the soft runners will have got a bit of soil on it so well, because that means they can preserve the tyre life that bit longer. The Jamham, maybe I never moving Toxic Fusion in front just to kind of divert the conversation slightly, but I'm saying the soft tyres will have been preserved to that period of caution, and there's still the same life in them in lap 6 that we'd expect in like lap 2. So I feel like the soft window is going to be extended by at least 2-3 laps. Mercury is going to have a run on Jamham. Jamham's not going to defend it though. Mercury's going to go up the inside. They're going to go side by side into turn 1. Mercury takes it. Jam is just pretty defenceless. It was a nice run off the bank in there. The medium tyres. Jam's probably thinking conservatively. He wants to go long on this first stint. He knows everyone about him's on the softs. You know, everyone who are behind him now are the drivers that he'll be racing directly rather than through a second-hand strategy like everybody in front on the softs. So he'll be waiting as we see the yellow flags for Chuka.
Crash from wings gone.
Chuka's no really having the race that he would have liked either, and that's going to be disastrous for the racing point if he needs to come back in. He's pitted for the hards and to the end, so if he needs to pit for damage, then he'll need to get in the field at once. Hards, it will really depend how many tyres, like the allocation that the drivers get, give themselves for the race, to prove how disastrous that this state for the racing point driver.
Mercury then going to charge up his move on Fusion as DRS is enabled in the lab. But yeah, there's a lot of air to take this lap with, but he's looking pretty quick behind Fusion at minute 58.
Mercury in the midfield, like you're counting between Billy, Toxic Fusion, Mercury, Jamham and Kevin, those 5 drivers, and it's Mercury that ends up having at ERS. That really just shows that he is quite committed to trying to cut through the field as quick as he can, and is like obviously sophisticated as he can as well. He really is looking to try and make some gains after the poor qualifying session he had, and he's already up into P9. Jamham's doing excessively well on the E version. Is only 95%, so he's not even touching that extra boost. He's just quite comfortable with the pace that he's running on the medium tyres, and quite right, he's just sitting on the Mercury. He's got Kevin behind. Kevin's on the same. He's like 8 lower, so the medium runners are just kind of being a bit conservative. No, the slipstream's working for them. The dirty air isn't them too much. It's maybe the medium runners that are in a really strong position at this point, even with the safety car really early on.
Definitely, it's definitely going to enable the medium runners to maybe push it a little bit harder than they would have because they've got the extra grip, the extra air, sort of.
And we've got Billy nearly going round the outside of Gravity into turn 1, just so to cut you off slightly.
Quite slow, he's coming up the inside there, all that thank you for it. Gravity's quite slow, as I said. He's really on it now, but a driver route is really on it, so we've got a little battle going on, taking on Kyle there. That's a decent move up the inside. We've got a lot of time in that dirty air behind McLaren, so he's going to be, he's down to P30 and 3 seconds behind. Big C, I'm very surprised with Danny at the moment. Keeping up with Bruno well.
It's not letting me switch manually, so I need to just do it automatically. Same way you can see on the right hand side on the map, that is the Williams, Mercedes, Alpha Mercedes of Hamjam there as well. So 2 Mercedes, a Williams and an Alfa Romeo, all in this wee battle, for the lead of the race, and DJ Danny and Hamjam doing extremely well keeping up with Bruno Will and Davison. We know that these two have really serious pace. Davison's trying to sell the drivers the dummy there. You can see him veering off to the pit and just jumping into the last minute. He's trying to sell the dummy. He's really just trying to see if somebody will bite and go for the undercut. And see, the thing is, Maldy, I'm not really trying to dummy somebody if you're the lead car, because the undercut could work and then you take your own dummy essentially. So it really is just a matter of who's going to blink first.
I think Danny's an underdog for this podium, you know. He's got Hamdan behind him, looking quite quick. Danny, he's dirty air, and they start battling. Danny could be leading this Grand Prix. It could be a whole galaxy moment from yesterday.
And we'd very much love to see somebody win their first race in STB. We love seeing new winners. So DJ Danny and Ham. An STB race just yet, and 2 of them are doing extremely well, keeping up with Davison and Bruno Will.
I don't really have.
For the time that I've been a commentator, I've not seen him take the checkered flag. I've seen him get like a good handful of second places, but I honestly can't remember the win, and I do apologise for being ignorant if he has won and I've just completely forgot. But I don't think he's won a race. He's got like he's been really good at the end of last season.
Yeah,
and the start of this season.
Well, I'm excited to see what Danny can do here.
Definitely, it is really just going to be a matter of who blinks first, and it will just be the softs to the hards. The softs maybe is kind of
crash
with tyres.
From Joel's point of view, that might be a safe car.
Oh, that's a full!
Of course, yeah. We did on the curb. Yeah, for him, he's out of the Grand Prix. And this is going to help Libero. He just picked the soft compound tyres. Maybe again for a step hard. So that could really help him actually. Oh, Libero! Right there. That's really
Libero, yep.
I reckon Libero, if he pits this out for hards, it should be a mega race for Libero. He needs to pit this out for hard compound tyres.
Is everybody going to come into the pits?
Because
yep, they're all coming in. They're all coming in. Maldi pit lane will be active. It'll be busy. Everybody. So essentially, everybody is coming in to switch tyres. Mercedes are double stacking, and Hamjam's going to lose massively there. Well, everybody just kind of filters into the pit lane, into the respective garage. Better not drive into the wrong one.
Will he can't lose the game, I think, as well, maybe because he's at the front of the pit lane in his Mercedes.
And he's jumped Bruno well, Maldi. Danny's up into second.
There you go. Great performance there from him. Oh, some Pierre Gasly stuff right here.
Interestingly, as well, Hamjam tucked right up behind his teammate under the safety car period. He was trying to split himself on the set of mediums. That's going to be interesting. So he's expecting his tyre management skill to be good enough to get him to the end on the medium. So that's 24 laps on the medium tyres. I mean, it's possible. I do feel like he might have a bit of the end, depending how he saves the tyres, and he is a driver, so maybe his tyre life will maybe just see him out. But the Mercedes, every time in real life, in the game, it means Hamjam's down in 10th, and he's lost a few places. He's lost to Bullseye, Fury, Gravity.
Sorry.
Victor McFly.
DJ Danny might win this Grand Prix because it's actually very difficult to overtake around this Zandvoort circuit. I'm getting really hot for Danny here because Bruno Will, he jumped Bruno Will, and Danny's did a league last week actually around him, and he did a great job at defending against F1 Gravity actually for the victory. Yeah, Danny's known obviously for defending in STB, so if he can try and get up to Davison, this might be the Gasly moment. Danny.
It definitely could. We are just hitting a third race distance here. We're under the second safety car caution of the race. And this was brought out for Kyle having a mistake just through that left banking that we've just drove through there on board of DJ Danny. But DJ Danny, Alpha Romeo doing extremely well to get him out before the traffic hits, and it's unfortunate for Bruno Will because the Mercedes garage is the first garage, so to see him also come in and then have everybody coming in behind, I'm surprised he didn't lose much more than he did, but that could have been disastrous for Mercedes purely because the garage is first. But DJ Danny, Alpha Romeo was a lot further down the pit lane and was able to get out before the traffic hit. Hamjam massively losing out there with the traffic coming in, but we've got everybody on the tyres with the exception a Hamjam and Churka on the medium. I don't think here. And we've got a lot of lagging.
Oh, Will is giving a positive time penalty for us to make collision with Bullseye. It's kicking off here. Bruno Will's got a penalty now, reinstated. Danny's won this race.
That's
They've got him.
Safety cars in. And Jamham's
I'm a little bit scared of Jamham though. He's trying to set mediums. Is he trying to go mediums to softs? Who knows?
It could work. You might maybe need another safety car, but if you can get to about lap 25, soft tyres could be an option. That's only 12 laps away. It's a very short circuit.
He's saved a lot of wear though on his tyres. That's great.
What a
start! What a launch from Jamham there. 6 attempts up. Here we go then. Danny's already on the attack on Davison. He needs to do him fast. Here we go up the inside, we see for DJ Danny. Oh, that cone. No, they can't do it. He's looking punchy here in Netherlands. We see up the inside. Look, there's been a crash. Victim flies off the circuit.
And Victor McFly was up in 7th, 8th place. He was in that kind of window. He was in a really strong position, and now he's at the back of the field. He hasn't lost too much time, but he is kind of like just 2 seconds behind Churka at the back of the field, which is going to be a big ask for him to try and claw his way back through that. But you never know what can happen in Formula 1. We could hit another safety car period. We could hit a completely different strategy. From what I can see, he's got. Let's see. He's not got his front right end plate.
Yeah, he ain't got it.
His front right end plate. He's just going to have to come back into the pits. So he's picking for halves as well. That's going to be massive damage to his race, because if you lose your front right end plate, all the left-handers are going to be a massive struggle. I mean, it is a clockwise circuit, so the right end plate wouldn't do too much damage, but if it was the left, you'd definitely be wanting to pit because you can understeer through every right-hander, and every right-hander on this circuit has a lot of speed. You have to carry through it except for turn 1. So he'll be probably into the pits, which he is. No, that's Billy WF, sorry. He's in the pits. He must have picked up damage somewhere along the way. And he's onto soft, so he'll definitely be coming back in as well.
Everything then is looking quite punchy behind Jamham at the moment, Riggsy. This could all fall into Danny's favour, but Danny's losing time to Bruno Will. But Bruno Will has got a penalty. In the back of the mind is that Alfa Romeo.
And if the race was to have the checkered flag coming out right now, because it's so bunched together, Bruno Will could potentially drop out of the points if the grid was to remain like this on the final lap, which is massive in terms of points standings. We are
Definitely.
still just under the half race distance as well, so there's still a lot that can happen. It's been quite hectic, it's been quite chaotic. We might not have seen many overtakes, but we've seen a lot of carnage in terms of safety cars and damage and everything else.
Slipstream routine, Dasman's got slipstream, DRS, it's not going to be good, it's not going to be good enough though. So I think he will get it this lap, but if they both, you know, start battling and defending against each other, this is going to have DJ Danny.
And he'll be kind of praying that Jamham's kind of hitting his best performance with the tyres. He'll be kind of hoping that the tyres maybe drop off that bit quicker so he can still keep the DRS off of Davison now that it's been reactivated, reinstated in this race following the safety car period. But DJ Danny just kind of looks like he's just kind of clinging on for dear life at this point. Had a really good launch on the restart, but he looks like he's having to fight with everything that he's got just to keep in the DRS of Davison. But if Jamham's in front of Davison into DJ Danny, then he'll no need to push as much. So it really is just kind of weighing on whether he does go aggressive or does he just let Jamham's tyres go and push Davison back.
Very good in the closing speed on his brakes. But what needs to happen now is there needs to be no overtake between Davison and Jamham. Brunner had a great exit
on yellow flags and 2, that's for Billy. Davison's going to go for the move, run it inside. Davison's going to have the main inside into turn 1. Jamham's just going to sit behind, and that's crucial for everybody that's behind Jamham. It's just going to be a matter of how quick Danny can clear Jam now, because he knows he needs to do it, because Davison will just run off into the distance and Danny will get bogged down with the traffic and the dirty air coming off that Haas in front. So it really is do or die in this stage.
Definitely needs to hurry up because this is for his first STB win. So he's got some very decent pace as far as so he needs to try and clear Jamham as quickly as possible.
And will he try and make it into turn 13? I don't think he will. He's too far back. I don't think
it's going to be difficult because Jamham has DRS on Davison as well. If Jamham can get a good exit, he can potentially get on the back of Davison, but it's got to be a mega exit this time. Yeah, I don't think that's possible, but I do really want to see Danny win, to be fair. I really want to see it. It was a great moment, but oh, and Bullseye! Oh wait, Bullseye's getting a bit spicy now on the back of Bruno Will. That's something we didn't expect to see in Formula 1 in STB. Look at this. Bullseye then, looking quite racy here against the Brazilian.
Just looking twitchy on the exit of turn 4 there as well. The Ferrari looks like it's performing on a knife edge. If you're just jumping on board there, it just has these wee twitches and wee jumps in between coming through turns as well, which is actually, it just really shows how much he's pushing. But giving Bruno Will a bit of pressure, just applying that bit of pressure on the back of the Mercedes could potentially be enough to kind of allow Bruno Will to drift into Bullseye and get Ham Jam behind, catching up once again as well, as he dropped off on that restart as well, but he is catching back up. And if Bullseye can keep hassling Bruno Will for 4th place, it could give DJ Danny that breather that he needs to focus on Jamham in front. But Jamham still crucially keeping in that DRS, Davison in front. Davison's not exactly pulling away, but Bruno Will's going to have a run on DJ Danny. DJ Danny's going to have to go defensive. He needs to pierce a hole through the air rather than take the slipstream to avoid Bruno Will going up the inside, and Bruno Will isn't close enough on this occasion. But now knowing that Jamham's really having a big part of giving him dirty air and reducing the amount of grip he's getting through some of these turns, it's allowing Bruno Will and Bullseye to push.
Yeah, Danny's used a lot of his ERS. He's coming on 28%. Bruno Bullseye on quite close to 70%. So DJ Danny's been using a lot of ERS that could really hinder him later on in the Grand Prix if he doesn't save that. He still can't find a way past Jamham, and he's got Bruno Will right behind him.
And the longer I see Jamham go, the confidence I've got in him going onto the soft tyres at the end gets a bit higher. He definitely will look exceptionally quick at the end, and he'll look even quicker if there is a third safety car timed perfectly for the Haas driver. He is currently running P2, but he is out of that DRS. This is DJ Danny's chance to try and climb in. He's already got the ERS open, the ERS engaged, sorry, so he's using it really early on through the bank turn and still isn't quite close enough into the hard braking for the turn 1. He's going to have to be a bit, he's maybe going to have to be a bit more sporadic or into turn 9.
Well, they do, because it's going to be very low at the moment. Like, if he had a bit more, he could easily use some down here to try and get a bit of momentum, but he can't do it. He's only got 20%. So yeah, this is not good for Danny, but this is great for Dallas in his championship chances.
Definitely, you can want to build your points tally up as early as you can in the season. And DJ Danny as well, talking about ERS, Maldy, there isn't many places to really recharge the battery. Only into turn 1 and coming down into turn 13 here are the only real hard braking zones. It goes up the inside.
He needs to do this for the win. He needs to try and do this for the victory here in the Netherlands. He's going to go around the outside. He's on a curve there. There you go. Right now, he needs to push. He needs to catch. Davies in. This is a big moment now for Danny's STB career. This will be his first victory.
Bruno Will's getting the ball's going to go for DJ Danny. Day up the inside.
Bruno Will, the championship leader up the inside for Danny. Danny's going to defend that there, and now Danny needs to push. Danny needs to push here to get away. But Bruno Will, that is a big moment for him. He got the DRS over the top, kept the jam ham on this. Then got the DRS on Danny, kept him on standing in turn 1. There you go. P3 now for them, but he has got a 5-second penalty. He needs to manage that.
And that was just quite scary to watch, because I was on board with Jamham watching DJ Danny just drive down the road thinking that was all done and dusted, and then the next thing we knew we seen Bruno Will just driving by Jamham, so I flicked back onto Bruno Will and he had such a strong run off the banked final turn. He nearly got DJ Danny. The gap was there. DJ Danny did move a bit late to defend it. It was fun. It was fair. Bruno Will kind of kept in it and then backed out at the last second, knowing that he was carrying maybe a bit too much speed into turn 1, meaning that he wasn't going to slow the car down in time and just trying to avoid an accident. He is already carrying a penalty. He has to play this smart. And
definitely. So Bruno Will
there.
Yeah, DRS, here we go down the straight. Sweet if you like. There you go. But yeah, that's easy. Easy done. There you go. P2. Yeah, Danny's not got the pace on this sim.
And it's the ERS as well. It's really going to be denting his confidence as well. He knows that he's not going to have that extra 160 horsepower at his advantage as much as the other drivers. And he already know, like, that Bruno Will's got 43%. It's not much higher. Jamham's on 62, looking quite comfortable there. His brother, Hamjam, on 14% in the Mercedes, right behind his brother. So, 4th and 5th for the Jam and Ham brothers in this race. Bullseye's in 6th as well, and he's kind of struggling to save his ERS as well, looking at the 30% range. So ERS is the longer we get into this race, the lower we're going to see these percentages. So it is all about saving and going for final charges at the end. But on the other hand, Maldy, letting Bruno Will pass could maybe allow, and it's no disrespect to Danny, but allowing Bruno Will to pass could allow Bruno Will to try and close in on Davies in front and kind of bring Danny along in the toe. Like, kind of just tuck him in the pocket. And talking about going for the move, I know that's completely unrelated, but the brothers gone side by side into turn 1. Ham on Jam, Ham up the inside. Mercedes versus Haas. Mercedes win that duel up into P4. Goes Ham, Jam, Ham still stretching the stint. So
I think Jamham could be pitting this lap, maybe next lap. 12, 13 laps on the step softs, that's easily possible. So I think, it needs to, you just need to bring this to the pits, get fresh set softs on, and then absolutely bomb it in the final spin.
Absolutely, I think Jamham will be blisteringly quick, and see in a theoretical sense, if there's a safety car that just comes out of the blue, if the FIA just put a safety car out their backside and at times Jamham's stopped to perfection, then he could be cutting through the field. And if drivers are a bit aware of Jamham going to the softs when the safety car's out, they might pit for the softs just to kind of make sure Jamham doesn't get the edge, but then he gets track position, so it could be a 1-1 for the Haas if the safety car was to come out at the right time.
But he's not in yet.
It's not like he's dropping much time. He's only lost about half a second to his brother in front after Ham got past in the Mercedes. So he is really just kind of, and it's not like Bullseye's putting any pressure on either. He's just kind of, he's quite happy sitting in 6th at the moment. He's just waiting for Jam Ham to pit, knowing that he needs to pit again. So it really is just a matter of when Jam Ham's going to blink, I think.
Bullseye then received a driver that I said could potentially go on podium. He's currently in P6 at the moment, so he's not really showing, podium sort of pace. But I'll tell you something right now, Bruno Will has gained 5 tenths in the second set. His gap now 1.8 seconds. He's absolutely flying. Danny now is out of DRS from Bruno Will. So yeah, I think Danny could well still be a podium, but could well be difficult with it.
I mean, if you're DJ Danny, I think you're just a matter of just sitting in the slipstream, try and keep up with Bruno Will as much as you can. The 5-second penalty, he probably will have been told by his engineer at this point, as we see Jam Ham and Bullseye coming into the pits. No Bullseye was actually just taking the slipstream, so apologies there for the deception. He deceived me, so I was like, oh, there's Bullseye in the pits. It's a bit strange for him. P5. But I think DJ Danny and Ham Jam Bullseye are just really going to be saying, Bruno Will's got a penalty. Oh, he's got a penalty. They'll just kind of settle for taking it once the penalty's applied. And that's exactly how I kind of see it. DJ Danny just doesn't really look like he's got the pace like he did on the softs. He looked exceptionally quick in the softs and was kind of putting his name in the hat for contention. But he is still in a podium place, which is always strong results. Strong 15 points as it stands. It would be 18 once the penalty's applied if he keeps within the 5 seconds. And it really is just a matter of keeping Ham Jam behind as well. So this battle for third, and theoretically third, which is how you see it on the screen, but second at the end of the race, could be really interesting because Ham Jam is looking quick.
Yeah, and his brother as well is looking very good at the moment as well. Anything can happen, but Ham Jam maybe go DRS. And it's going to go defensive, go to the inside, but Ham Jam's going to take it all the way around the outside. Ham Jam. Around the outside. And he gets up in a P3 there. The sun's starting to peer through the clouds. It's always very cloudy, as I said, qualifying around the circuit. That's something you need to sort out. It's not good being gloomy all the time. Well, that's not gloomy for Mercedes. P3 for Ham Jam.
Definitely, that's a brilliant move. They're running outside of DJ Danny into turn 1 there for the Mercedes driver. He needed to get it done because I think he does have the pace to maybe try and close the gap on Bruno Will a little bit. But talking about closing gaps, Bruno Will is just teetering on the DRS detection point there, just over a second behind Davison. So he's really just been putting the hammer down and catching up to the Williams. It's had a really comfortable lead following the second safety car. Yellow flags in sector 2, that's for it looks to be Liberal. Yep, so one Williams is sweeping in success at the front. It's the other Williams that ends up having a spin at turn 12, sorry.
Yeah, not a day to remember for Liberals. He's not really had the season really, but here we've got some battling going on. We've got Mercury versus Gravity down the pit straight here, down into turn 1. And there you go, the inside of Gravity going to try and defend the line there. Doesn't get on the curve, that's a good line there for them. Renault. Round the outside goes Gravity. Mercury's going to stamp his authority there on that baton. He's up at P8. That is a good move there from the Alfa Romeo driver. P number 8 for him. Next up is FNT Kevin.
It's all really about getting your elbows out into turn 1. I feel like that's the only real overtaking opportunities we've saw. We've seen DJ Danny going for the move into Jam Ham in turn 13. We've seen a few moves kind of eyeing up into turn 13 as well, with Bruno Will darting out of the slipstream on Davison very early on in the race. We've seen Ham Jam and Danny kind of have a wee look in there, Jam Ham as well, like definitely been looking to make a move into 13, but it's always in turn 1 that we're seeing it work, and Mercury just got a really strong launch off the bank turn. No, it's a really short pit straight as well, so you don't really have much time to think about your move. You kind of just have to hope you've got the speed to kind of really go for it. Like, you don't really have much time to think about it, and that's what kind of bamboozles us as spectators. I know, like, for us, because we've drove the circuit as well, but like we know, like, it's a very short run. I won't bother with Gravity. You don't really have much time to think. Like,
and as you said earlier as well, you can't really, like some circuits, you could just come out the last corner and bomb the overtake, but you can't do that. You can't save the battery very well on the circuit because it's very high speed. So yeah, it's difficult to get a balance between saving the RS, but then wanting to get the overtake done, and that's really the only way you can do it. Overtake the RS.
That's exactly it. There's no really much you can do. Like turn 13, I'm on board with Bruno Will. This is the only real opportunity I can see where you actually save your ERS on the brakes. Turn 1 as well. They're the only hard braking zones in the circuit where you can actually recharge your battery to a degree. Talking about battery charge, Bruno Will and Davison in the battle for the lead have a very similar ERS battery. They're both in 45%. Like around about 40-45%, not even 2-3% split the two, so they're running very similar ERS output. And Bruno Will is tucked right into the rear wing of the Williams, and we've got 7 laps left. This definitely is not over.
Okay, let's have a look at this. Jamham then is 5 seconds behind Matty at the moment, so he needs to try and get him 5 seconds on his teammate here this evening. But not really looking at that, to be honest. We're looking at BRL Bruno Will now, who is for 2 tenths, but the gap to Hamjam at the moment, really, is only 2 seconds. If these guys keep battling and they keep, fighting, it could well bring Hamjam into it. Of course, Bruno has got a penalty that will be in the mind of Davison, and that's why, Rigsy, I think Bruno Will has been pushing so hard, because he knows he's got to get 5 second gap. Got to get 5 seconds. At least DJ Danny. At the moment, it's around 3. So, we need to put out a bit more time. But even though this could be it now, Rigsy for the lead.
He has got the run. He's got the ERS open. Oh, Davison late moving to the inside there. He's got to go to the outside. He's not going to care about the inside.
Come on, defend the position. Davison in.
Oh, he's done it!
Bruno,
it's a brilliant move.
What an overtake. I mean, I was supporting Davison down in that braking zone. Then corner fast. All the Bruno Will fans. But I was back in Davison in there, but Boa, as they say.
Has he gone to do it?
Great or incredible. Good overtake.
Sorry, Maldy, I thought Davison was going to try and do it into turn 9 there, the long right hander at the top of the circuit. He had such a
on the
good
curve
run.
I can help him. Right, all Davison needs to do now, Rigsy, is keep within 5 seconds. All he needs to do, within 5 seconds. The DRS is very powerful down that straight, even though it's so quite short. Actually, very powerful.
It's when you're tucked right into the slipstream.
Yeah,
it's very really powerful. You don't really. It just really doesn't. I mean, it really does its best to try and help the overtaking, even though it's limited. Like Davison there isn't even using overtake, and that's him right back up behind the Mercedes again. So that just really goes to show.
Yeah.
Just how quick the straight line.
There we go. He's going to use any overtake. Yes, he is. Only a little bit off the exit. If I was him, I would actually bomb it all the way down here with overtake mode. Because, he's got to try and keep him honest. He's got to try and, keep within the 5 seconds. I mean, it's going to be quite difficult for Bruno Will to, pull out 5 seconds, really. It's just about, actually winning on the circuit, more than getting different penalties. So I think that's in Davison's mind. But DRS again.
And I don't know if Davison knows, because he still looks like he's trying to battle Bruno Will and just do everything he can to keep in, like, right up.
Bruno Will, though,
back into
has been pushing really hard. So I think Davison is a bit scared, because, Davison might not even know that, Bruno Will has got a penalty, as you said, so he's got to push hard in order to keep that gap. Because if he
sorry, Maldy, DJ Danny,
DJ Danny's running the outside there off the Mercedes. That's a decent move there from Andy. This could well be P2 for DJ Danny. So they need to stop battling them, because this could well be still big points on the table for Davison compared to Bruno Will. This could be incredible. Bruno Will could drop to P4 here, Rigsy.
It's definitely, if Bruno Will keeps pitting in the laps that he is, and DJ Danny and Hamjam get in a bit of a squabble, then they could both miss it on second place. Currently, as you were saying, Bruno will be fourth if it stays the way it is. I've got the interval times changed to the leader, and Bruno Will has a 3.3 second advantage to DJ Danny and a 3.9 to his teammate. And there, if they lose a couple, say if they lose 2/10 per lap, 2/10 per lap to the end of the race, Bruno Will gets third place. Like, so Hamjam really needs to kind of keep DJ Danny there, and he's going to be an overtake. He's already in overtake, and he's got very little left in the tank, but he's going to just use it or burn it all coming down to turn 1. Is he going to make the move?
All of the DRS, all of it. He wants this position, but it has helped him get beyond, under the 4-second gap there. And he can use a bit of overtake; it will help him compared with Bruno Will here.
And
this is great for spectators to racing already because Bruno Will get P4. That was in P1. That's a big sort of point advantage in the championship. Yeah. Okay, where's that one? So much action.
Been too busy focusing on that EastEnders coming back. That's
oh
why.
yeah. Let's not talk about that. We've got Kevin Beyond Fusion now racing for P number 6 now. As they come through the second sector. I'm a bit scared for Kevin because he's favourite for tier 2, and I'm looking quite pacey around here. There's been a bit of contact there between the two drivers. Fusion then round, and now we've got Mercury on him now. That's a good overtake there from Mercury. Grado's going to get involved as well. Maybe even Matty Banter here. They come into the chicane. The chicane. What else could it be? It will be a hairpin. Mercury then he's got the overtake done, going to get his overtake on the exit there. DRS is going to be in full activation. David has got a gap down now to 6/10 at the front of the pack there. Mercury's going to try and block inside. No, he's not close enough.
Oh, there's contact! Gravity's been...
Gravity, massive grab! Gravity's bang on the exit there. On turn 1. He span it. He tried to go up the inside, I believe, maybe Riggsy, was it? Went up the inside and then he just...
It looked like to me the Haas of Matt just kind of seemed to come in a bit too hot on the brakes, kind of seemed to leave it late and just tap the rear wing of the Renault just slightly, and it's enough to throw Gravity in a spin. You're having to be careful with the throttle output for turn 1 because it is a very slippy corner as well, and Gravity's just been absolutely tanked into T1 and has just decided that's him for the day. Massively unfortunate.
But Riggsy, if we look at Hamjam Riggsy, the gap to Bruno Will is 5.4 seconds. Bruno Will has done it. He has got the advantage over Hamjam. Will he get the advantage over DJ Danny? Only 2/10 point.
And that's the kind of, I feel like you can just see it's already kind of just creeping up to 5 seconds already. So DJ Danny needs to have an absolute phenomenal final lap if he has to get second place. Hamjam as well, if he can keep the ERS, keep in the slipstream with DJ Danny through the final lap. Both of them can maybe, it's a big ask now because you can just see the gap just slowly increasing. DJ Danny right on the cusp as well. And Hamjam's a full second down for what he was just a lap ago. So Bruno Will really
still going to beat Bruno Will. So whatever happens, David's going to get second win in the league. 7 more points than Bruno Will. Still, keeping the championship alive. So you know what? I'm here for it. But no two.
Best seat in the house, Maldy. Me and you're up in the commentary booth and we get the full action right here and then.
Action every week. Tier 2's better, but Tier 1's decent.
Exactly. And we're very much looking forward to having you for Tier 2 as well, which is tomorrow night, Tuesday, 8 o'clock British Standard Time, where you'll see my co-commentator Maldy take to the cockpit.
Yeah, my favourite track as well, Richie, so I'm here for it. What can I say?
And hopefully it'll be a front row start as well. Talking about fronts.
I don't know about that, but I'll try. But anyway, Mercury's trying to keep the Red Bull heading on it. But Davison has got the gap now down to 5 seconds, which is very strong in that second sector. But I don't think Riggsy it's going to be enough for Dowsing to win on circuit. What is going to be good enough is going to be good enough for Dowsing to pick up the victory here in the Netherlands, for the first ever Netherlands. It's saying Netherlands Grand Prix, the first ever Dutch Grand Prix, and he'll be the first ever STB winner in Netherlands, and we get our second one tomorrow in Tier 2. So it's going to be very good special moment for Dowsing. These Brazilian drivers absolutely dominating here in Netherlands, and I swear that was the penultimate lap. Dowsing will win, receive the Dutch Grand Prix. Second is Bruno Will, third is DJ Danny, fourth is Hamdan 2002, fifth is Bullseye, sixth is going to be Fusion, fifth is Fusion, sixth is Bullseye, seventh is Kevin, eighth will be Matt in the end of the season, ninth Jamham, that strategy did not work out for him, 10th Mercury due to these penalties. He did have a few corner cut penalties there. 11th will be Libero. 12th will be Victim of Fly. He has struggled here in Netherlands. He'll be hoping to go to his home race next week in Spain and try and just give that performance, because it's been a dire race for the Alpha Tauri driver. And then we've got the rest of the DNF. So basically, what a race! Not much overtaking. Great action, and Dowsing is your Dutch Grand Prix winner.
It's been exhilarating, Aldi. Who would you say was driver of the day?
Dowsing.
Davison, strong showing, second one under the belt. Very commanding in the second stint. Bruno Will got him in the end and done extremely well to keep him behind. Probably a strong shout there as he does take the top step there as he gets the phone out for a selfie on the podium there. And we've got Bruno Will there in second place after his penalty, and DJ Danny able to get the podium as well.
Great performance there. Very weird to see Williams on the podium. That is in a second victory in STB this season. He was definitely the underdog, we see. No one really expected Dowsing to be a championship contender, but he's definitely stomping his authority down on the Tier 1 grid. First is Dowsing, your race winner for the Dutch Grand Prix. Second is Bruno Will. Third is DJ Danny, his first podium of the season. He'll get an interview. Dowsing and Bruno Will fortunately won't due to their English, but I'm sure they're happy with their race. Fourth will be Hamjam 2002. Fifth, Toxic Fusion. Sixth, Bullseye. Seventh, Kevin. That will give him some confidence for tomorrow's Grand Prix in Tier 2. 8th is Matt Matty Banton. 9th is Jamham. 10th, Mercury. 11th was Libero. 12th was Victim of Fly, and then you can see the rest of the retirements. The big one was STB Zitzi retiring on the first lap of his home Grand Prix here in the Netherlands. I think there's an interview this evening. I did invite, but don't know where he'll be able to join due to do not disturb. But yeah, we're here in the Netherlands. Tier 1 race is complete, and DJ Danny has been able to keep his podium. First podium of the season. Danny, include your audio. Third place here this evening. You've strong at Netherlands. You had a league race last week in Netherlands, where I believe you won, and then you took that momentum into this race. How does it feel? You could have easily got P2, but you just didn't have the pace to keep within 5 seconds of Bruno Will there.
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy with P3. I mean, I really can't complain. I mean, I think it's the first race that I've genuinely had pace. China are on the pace, but I feel like there were faster drivers out there, where today I felt like I was probably the third or fourth quickest driver. So I think a podium is deserved, really, and I think Jam didn't have to go on the mediums, and it's because his tyres just died at the end, which allowed me to obviously catch back up. And I actually didn't fight him at first because I thought he was going to pit again, but then when he stayed out after lap, I was like, maybe this was a mistake. But luckily, his tyres just went off, and I was able to get past again. And yeah, I'm happy with P3, to be honest.
Well done. Next week is the Spanish Grand Prix. How do you feel about the Barcelona circuit?
It's not my strongest, but I think if I can get Getting the points. I think that's the objective. Just getting the points. That's just the target. I think, especially on tracks I'm not as strong as. I think getting top 7 would be a good result for me, and keep it consistent. Really get points for Alfa Romeo.
Okay, thank you, Danny, and well done on your 3rd place. Hamjam, a decent strategy here in Netherlands. Did the safety car? Do you think the safety car was the reason for P4 today?
No. If I'm being honest, I think that kind of screwed me over a little, with having to start behind Bruno Will. So I came out of the pits in like 10th. I was going to do the mediums anyway. I was going to try and take the tyres a lap longer, and well, like Danny said, they really went off at the end. So maybe it wasn't the best decision anyway, but I had to kind of do something because I knew I was going to get hammered in the pits. The safety car was really a really bad time for me as well. But yeah, I mean, the safety car allowed me to, but I don't think it necessarily helped me.
Okay. Well, thank you, Hamjam, and a good recovery from P10. That was a good race for you. Rixie, any final words to close up proceedings here in the Netherlands?
No, I just want to thank everybody that tuned in to watch what was a very entertaining race. There wasn't many overtakes, but we definitely didn't need them for what we got in the end. Like, I thought it was a very, very good race up and down the field. Bruno Will's penalty really kind of got him into an extra gear to try and like get his way through the field, at the front of the field, and try and obviously extend the gaps at the front to try and kind of minimise the damage, which was very interesting to watch as well. But no, just very much just want to pass my congratulations to everybody who was on the podium, and everybody that drove. I thought it was a really good race, and I hope that you are here with us for Tier 2 tomorrow.
Thank you, Rixie. Thank you for joining us here for tonight's Dutch Grand Prix. Well done to everyone that took part, everyone that finished, and of course the top 3, DJ Danny, Bruno Will, and Davidin. Do join us tomorrow for the Tier 2 Dutch Grand Prix. Do join LRS Mercury and F1 Gravity in the commentary box tomorrow. But you can join me and Rixie next week for the Spanish Grand Prix at the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya in Spain. We'll see you next week, but we may see you tomorrow for Tier 2 Netherlands. We'll see you then, and thank you for watching.